As we get older, I think being more fit can help a person keep up with younger colleagues. I think in my company, by the end, I was the second or third oldest person in the company. I think my immediate boss was maybe 25 or 30 years younger than me. And so I felt that being in shape, being fit, helped me kind of keep up with younger folks and to still be relevant. I never wanted to be that older person in the office who was losing touch and kind of moving slow and who just seemed to be kind of nearing the end of their productive days at work. I think that was part of it. I think too, though, there's so many things that overlap between sport and between business. All these things that we hear so much about these days, resilience and grit and learning from failure and pursuing lofty goals. That BHAG concept that you mentioned at the outset, that comes from a business book, Good to Great by Jim Collins. And he talks about the importance of companies that can set a BHAG, a Be Hairy Audacious goal. Those are the companies that have really distinguished themselves separated themselves from their competitors and achieved great things. And I decided that was something that individuals could do as well, to set a BHAG, a Big Hairy Audacious goal, and to go after that. And it really, for me, it really filled my life with a sense of adventure, excitement, that there were still new mountains to climb. And I think for so many of us, as we get to middle age, our worlds start to narrow, whether professionally, personally, from a fitness point of view. But I think that is something that we have some measure of control over. And I think making a conscious effort to be audacious can really change things.
Yeah. And do you, I mean, like you say there about, I think as we get older, is there, from people you talk to, is there a sense of fear about, well, can I actually do this? Is it like a time constraint? Is it fear about hurting themselves? Or is it just a mental block that they just don't feel that this is possible for them? Because why should anything change just because we got a few years older? It's like anything, you just train for it,
Yeah, I think a couple things. I think in terms of the time component, and that, of course, that is a real concern. I do think we should regard health and fitness as a priority, and we should make time for it. To me, I kind of borrowed from the world of personal finance. They tell you that if you want to save money, pay yourself first. Yeah. So when you get your paycheck, set aside money for savings before you start spending on what you need to spend for that month. And I think the same is true with fitness. Pay yourself first, which for me means work out first thing in the morning. You control typically that first hour or two of the morning. After that, it can be a little bit dicey, especially in the world of startups. All sorts of things can happen. And the lunchtime workout that you planned on doing or the evening workout, you may lose that opportunity. So if it's really important to you, put that first on your agenda. And then in terms of what we're capable of, I think in general, we place too many limits on ourselves. I love the book by Carol Dweck, Mindset. We really do, I think, want to cultivate a growth mindset, the thought that we can take on challenges that perhaps frighten us, that perhaps fly in the face of limits that we've placed on ourselves subconsciously in our lives. And I think we can be very surprised if we make the effort. Now, having said that, I don't actually consider myself an evangelist for any particular type of sport, whether marathons, ultras, Ironman. For me, that ended up really working and resonating, but I just think making a commitment to regular fitness multiple days a week, ideally 6, but if 6 isn't possible, then 5. If 5 isn't possible, then 4, but really making that kind of commitment. And it can be whatever, basically gets a person out of bed and consistent with it. It can be walking, it can be running, it can be hiking, it can be yoga, it can be Pilates. Yeah. There's a million different things out there.
And is that something that you feel a lot of people maybe lack, is having that sense of this purpose, this having something to achieve? Because I guess when we reach a certain age, everyone supposes you've got everything figured out. But I think you still need to have that level of something to look forward to, some sort of excitement, some purpose, something that you can look back on and say, this is my achievement, this is my legacy, and something I can be really proud of.
I think that's how I see it. I don't think everybody's that way, and I don't think everybody has to be that way. I think for some people, it can be enough to say, look, I get it. I'm going to be fit, and I'm going to hit the gym 5 days a week, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to enjoy it, and it's not going to be a problem for me. And I don't need the stimulation of goal setting and races and all the rest. And I think more power to the person who can do that. I think that's great. I think for me, I do feel like I need the excitement and the challenge of working out with a goal in mind and treating my exercise as training sessions in pursuit of a goal. So yeah, but I think everybody's different, and I think that's a great thing. And I think you just have to kind of figure out who you are. I think, though, to me, there's so much interest these days in health span and longevity. And I always put the longevity piece off to one side. I think there are so many variables there. There's so much of it that we don't control. But health span, how long we can be fit, healthy, active, we have immense input on on what that will look like. And if we take our fitness seriously, it will pay dividends. Kind of no ifs, ands, or buts. This is not something that is cutting edge or controversial. And so I think, if we care about how we age, and I think we should engage with this issue of fitness and exercise and how do we make our midlife and beyond as wonderful as it can be.
Yeah. I mean, I did read some research a little while ago now on athletes, and it was like former athletes who sort of came out of sport, and as they got older, as they reached their midlife 40s and beyond, actually, if they did quite well and they maintained their health and fitness, had a much better aging experience rather. So this is, for me, is one reason that's certainly keeping up my health and fitness. I've been doing it a long time, many, many years, is that thought of, I want my independence. I want to, keep my dignity and all this. It goes away from the physical aesthetics to actually having something that's going to keep me fit and strong. But I also want to be excited about it. I want to have, like we talked earlier, about fun and having that purpose behind it. And I think a lot of people lack that. And that's where they struggle, maybe.
I think that's right. And this is an exciting time. And we have the Winter Olympics are going on now. There are several 40-something athletes that I've been reading about. And it's amazing. It's incredible what people are doing. And people are doing unbelievable things at later ages than we've ever seen in the past. And I think it really is, an increasing recognition that we can do extraordinary things.
Yeah.
And it just really is an issue of getting out there and getting started and then being consistent.